And welcome back to the channel. We got another live video today for you. It is that Thursday thirst game. We're talking, and it's an exciting one too. We're talking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to be talking about all those sits and starts and more, and your questions on sits and starts, all that and more on this episode of the Fantasy Whisperers.
Right here.
That's right. Like Johnny said, we're going to be talking about the Thursday night football matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to give you all the start-sit information you need for that game. We'll be answering your questions towards the end of the show as well. But if you like that fresh fantasy football content, you want more of it, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel right here and giving us a like on your way in. That would help us in a great way. That being said, welcome all the way in, Whisper Nation. My name is Big Travi. You can find me on Twitter at BigTraviTFW, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Game Time Hicks. You can find him on Twitter at Johnny_Game Time. What is good, Game Time?
How we doing, Big Travi? Oh my goodness, dude! Diving into this matchup, there is going to be a lot of thirst, a lot of thirsty Thursday going on in this matchup.
Yeah, this will be the second time the Bucs are on Thursday Night Football, and we saw the first Thursday night they won opening night against the Cowboys. They're going to get a similar style of game script probably here out of the Eagles, who have not been that good on defense. So really fire it all up. It's going to be good. But I want to talk about something a little bit scary right now. Do you know what's spookier than seeing a black cat on Halloween, Johnny? It's shaving your balls.
My fantasy team?
No, it's shaving your balls with anything other than Manscaped.
Okay.
When it comes to the below-the-waist grooming, there's no need to carve your pumpkins this Halloween because Manscaped is here to upgrade your grooming experience. Go from a bite-sized candy bar to a king-size candy bar and join the 2 million men worldwide by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code TFWMAN. Again, that's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TFWMAN at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping with the code TFWMAN at manscaped.com. Johnny, not only are we not talking about not carving up our pumpkins, but we got to talk about week 5 is in the books. Like we've gone through week 5, and obviously week 5 was crazy. It was wild. But I want to know, with 5 weeks in, who is your fantasy MVP?
I'll be honest with you. It's a little hard. It's a little hard not to throw out the GOAT right now. He's sitting at the number 1, overall fantasy spot for fantasy points, and Tom Brady. That we're talking about Tom Brady on this show as far as the Thursday night football game goes. It's hard not to say Tom Brady. It really is. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say Tom Brady because that's the easy one. That's the easy one. And you got to go with BMW. Mike Williams, man, who is just out punting his coverage right now. It is unbelievable what this guy is doing. Hey, and good for him. Contract season. Chargers didn't want to bring him back. They were like, hey, we don't want to re-up that contract. We're thinking about letting you go. You're injury prone. And then all of a sudden they put him in the right spot with the right offensive coordinator, giving him targets, and he is not only just producing, Travis, he is dominating.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was hard for me to not pick BMW, but I kind of had a feeling you would pick BMW, so I wanted to have a counterpoint here. But yeah, you talked about it all. I mean, remember, BMW, a former first-round pick, but my guy's also a first-round pick in Marquise Brown. So I'm going to go with Marquise Brown here as the fantasy MVP. I mean, this is a guy who should be the number 1 wide receiver had he had caught a couple of those balls in Detroit. And so for me, Marquise Brown, the connection with Lamar improving as a passer and hitting Marquise a lot more consistently this year. So yeah, I'm with you on BMW, but I also think Marquise Brown could be a fantasy MVP. Whisper Nation, let us know in the chat, whatever platform you're watching on, who your fantasy MVP is so far. And just want to say thank you and what's up to everybody in the chat: Jersey J, Jimmy Navarro, Austin over on Twitch.
Oh, nice.
We've got tons of questions. We're going to try and get to your questions. We're doing all this start sit. Any questions you have, we'll get to them towards the end of this show. We just want to get through the start sit advice here on the actual game, but we will definitely get to all your questions. Whisper Nation, we love you big time, and we're going to rock with you continuously trying to get you those wins. But right now, let's talk about this Philadelphia Eagles taking off on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a 52.5 point over under. Tampa Bay favored by 7 on the road. And Johnny, I got to kick it right back to you here because I think the biggest storyline that we're seeing right now is Antonio Brown, man. Fresh off the COVID list. It looks like AB wide receiver 1 season, baby.
Hey, he's returning to his old ways, man. Like, this looks like, I mean, there were reports out of training camp. You had Bruce Arians coming out and saying he looked like the old AB back in Pittsburgh. But, that's BA. We know what coaches are doing. They're either like trying to set up some smoke screens or trying to motivate him. But it seems to have worked because Antonio Brown is a top 20 wide receiver. Check this out. He's barely behind both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And he sat out a game due to COVID. And he's still right behind Godwin in scoring, not that far behind Mike Evans. I look at this matchup. Philadelphia actually a little bit more surprising as far as difficulty on the matchup side of the go, allowing the third fewest receiving yards to opposing wide receivers this season with just 306. And they have surrendered just 5 touchdown receptions to wide receivers this season. I understand Darius Slay is projected to be on AB for about half of the snaps, according to PFF, but PFF really likes this matchup. So do we, because Antonio Brown right now, second highest snap share of the season last week with just 58%, Travis. But despite that minimal snap count for AB, he's still averaging 100 air yards per game this season, 3.04 yards per route ran, which is astronomical. You look for anything over 2, and you're like, yeah, I got to get that person in your lineup. So I am still rolling the Flames with AB this week. It might be not as great as last week's performance, but I still think he is worthy of that wide receiver 3 flex role for you this week with that high upside as a wide receiver 2. And you're going to touch in on Evans and Godwin, but I'm definitely starting to stay in the Flames with AB.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting Evans and Godwin, obviously. I mean, you're starting all these wide receivers pretty much every week, but AB, man, seems to be the one that is rising above consistency wise. He's got the upside as well as the other 2. So yeah, the Tampa Bay Bucs passing game, continuing to do what they do, and that's because Brady's had 27 or more fantasy points in all but 1 game this year. We've got Philly with a tough secondary, but they've given up 10 passing touchdowns on the year, and they're really no match for this kind of weaponry. And then we see when they played a game against Kansas City, Mahomes posted 30 points against them. I want to talk a little bit about Lombardy Lenny, because I think he's the only guy we need to talk about in the backfield for the Buccaneers now. I mean, I think it's really Lenny. Yeah, it's really just played itself out now. He went from Uncle Lenny, playoff Lenny, to Lombardy Lenny, and now he's the only back in that backfield, playing on 60% or more of snaps, has 3 or more catches in all 5 games this year, and he's got double-digit PPR fantasy points in all but 1 game. So really, we started the year, Johnny, asking who it was going to be. We know now. It's an emphatic yes that it's Leonard Fournette, and Philly has given up over 20 fantasy points per game this year, including the 4th most yards per game to opposing running backs. He's a strong RB2 this week, probably going forward with RB1 upside in particular games. And this is one of those games because, like most weeks, they are 7-point favorites here. And that means he can fall in for a touchdown. He can be used as the clock killer in all those things. Want to touch in on the tight ends? Oh, yeah, go for it, Johnny.
I wanted to ask you about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and what your thoughts on, because it seems to be a 1A, 1B, 1C. I know that we're going to start all 3. Godwin doesn't seem to have the greatest matchup on paper this week, but 3rd in the NFL in yards after the catch with 181, 10 red area targets on the year, which is 1st actually for wide receivers. But it just seems to be, the Mike Evans and the Antonio Brown are the 2 wide receivers that you can rely on more so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say you're more consistent, but I still want to rely on all 3. Like I said, I want all 3 in my lineup pretty much no matter what. There's going to be some, just based on, who you were able to get off waiver. We haven't seen anybody really off waivers be, dominant. And so I think Godwin is still a guy. It's kind of like play the wheel of fun, I'm going to have Godwin in my lineup because at any moment he could get the AB explosion game that we
the AB treatment.
So it's like I just think I want to play that game more often than not. It'll be interesting to see how this is going to happen with Gronk back in the lineup and what that will shift, because we haven't really seen them all together except for week 1, right? And then AB got COVID. Obviously, then when AB was coming back, Gronk got hurt. So I want to see all of the weapons together for maybe 4 games or so, and then I think we could peg. I feel like benching this guy here or there. want to talk about Gronk. He's obviously going to be out. He was said to be close, so monitor his status next week. We'll see what happens here. Eagles tied for the most touchdowns allowed to the tight end position, but I'm not trusting Brait, Johnny, with a 50% snap share. No game over 2 catches in either of the games without Gronk, so really not on the radar at all for me. There's just some other ones, and we'll talk about them on the other matchup shows, so make sure you're subscribed to all the podcast platforms and help us out there. If you like what you're hearing, you like the channel, and you like daily, fresh fantasy football content, hit that subscribe, hit that like button. We see about 10 of you rocking with us over here on YouTube. Hit that like. That's great. We appreciate you, and we will get to all these comments. We see Jersey J and Mason Scott and these guys popping off in the chat. We're going to get to you in just a few minutes here after we go through the Philadelphia Eagles. And so, Johnny, we've got Dallas Goedert, COVID-19, going to the COVID IR. And I wanted to ask you if we saw a realm of possibility, because I know we've been talking about it a little bit this week. It's been gaining momentum, but Zach Ertz was on the waiver wire column. Now is Zach Ertz primed and ready
wire
other than a waiver wire? Like, are we putting him right in the lineup?
I don't know how you don't, especially if you need a tight end this week. If you need to stream, there are some, 4 teams on a bye. You have Kyle Pitts on a bye. That maybe was your tight end. I would go and pick up Zach Ertz. He's available on a lot of leagues right now on waiver wires, or I saw in a lot of leagues people dropped him because he had a bad game last week. Wasn't a great matchup last week, and they were splitting snaps, obviously, with Goddard and Ertz. But with Goddard out this week, Travis, I am absolutely getting Zach Ertz in my lineup. Listen, Tampa Bay giving up the 9th most yards to opposing tight ends. They've allowed 3 touchdowns to tight ends so far this season, which is tied for 2nd in the league. Then check this out, right? You want to look at Zach Ertz and what this Philadelphia offense kind of does, in games in which, this is a high over-under and kind of shootouts. Well, Philadelphia has been in 2 of those games this season, Kansas City and Dallas. Well, in those 2 games, the tight ends combined for 5 red area targets and 2 touchdowns, 24 targets total in the Kansas City and Dallas game, Travis. Only 20 in the other 3 games combined. They were much lower. It was like Atlanta. It was San Francisco. These ugly kind of slow the game down. This isn't what this game is going to be. You look at Zach Ertz here. I don't see how he doesn't get 10 targets. He's already had 6 or more targets in 3 straight games, 8th in red area targets. And then when you look again at those 2 games, Kansas City and Dallas, you look at what he had, 27 routes ran on those 2 on average in those 2 games. Just 15 routes on average combined in Atlanta, Carolina, and San Francisco matchups. So I think that this is going to be an absolute smash spot for Zach Ertz. He's going to be by himself. They're going to be behind in game script. They're going to need to use him.
Okay, but what about the other pass catchers? Because we've seen Jalen Reagor and we've seen Devonta Smith mostly Devonta Smith flash some nice stuff here. But this is a team in Tampa Bay that has been ravaged by injuries, especially at the cornerback position. We've got Goddard out, which means at least about 13% of the market share up for grabs going forward, or at least for as long as he's out. So that doesn't all have to go to Ertz. That could be something that booms well for Devonta Smith or Reagor here.
I do think Devonta Smith will be another beneficiary of getting a little bit more of that targets or usage. Again, Tampa Bay, not a scary matchup when it comes to the defense, giving up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers, 4th most touchdowns surrendered to wide receivers this season. You look at Devonta Smith, he is their number 1 over there, which is what we thought he was going to be, but he's really living up to that hype, Travis. He's becoming a must-start flex wide receiver for me at this point. 3 straight games of 90+% snap share, 4th in unrealized air yards at the wide receiver position right now, which is unfathomable. 3 out of 5 games, he's had 70+ receiving yards and at least 8 targets, Travis. So I think his floor is very safe. He's got the extremely high upside. He's had a couple of touchdowns even called back this year, so it could even be even better. So I'm definitely starting Devonta Smith. Reagor, on the other hand, he's much more of an interesting DFS play for me as opposed to actually trying to get him in my lineup this week as far as a season-long redraft kind of goes, because he hasn't seen more than 6 targets all but once this season. So he's not exactly the most trustworthy guy to get in your lineup.
No, I would agree with that. And I think Devonta Smith slowly, and it's very quietly how he's been pretty good here. It's been up and down, but definitely has put some things together here. somebody who has not been quiet, or at least fantasy football managers have not been quiet about Miles Sanders and his, lack of work here. If you look at weeks 3 and 4, he had under 10 touches per game. He bounced back a little bit with 16 touches last week, but still only managed 10 PPR fantasy points. And he just hasn't gotten it going. We heard that they weren't gonna move away from the committee until he started to bust loose or bust a move or like do something crazy.
Don't just stand there, bust a move.
Yeah, like get your butts off the wall, bust a move. But he's not doing that, and now he's going to play a Tampa Bay defense that is one of the stoutest against the run. They've yet to allow over 200 yards total on the year, and only surrendered one running back touchdown on the ground this year. So Gainwell, everybody hyped up Gainwell after the week before last, where he got some targets. Because against Kansas City, he went 6 of 8 for 58 yards. This could be a very similar game script for Gainwell. So desperation flex and PPR, I think Gainwell makes it. We've got some guys out on bye. So he could be interesting there. I am benching Miles Sanders. There's not a league I could start Miles Sanders in right now against this Tampa Bay defense in negative game script, where they tend to use Gainwell when they're in that negative game script too. Johnny, I know Jalen Hurts is a must start. You and I know that.
Yeah.
A lot of people still ask questions about Jalen Hurts every week if they need to get him out of their lineup. He is a consistent QB1, and he needs to stay in your lineup going forward.
Absolutely. And then even in bad matchups, right? Like he could still somehow get it to where he's not a terrible quarter. Like his floor is so incredibly safe, Travis, because he has yet to score under 20 fantasy points in it when he starts and finishes a game. That's extremely safe. His ceiling is up there with some of the best because he is able to he has a fairly talented arm. And then you look up at this matchup, right? Tampa Bay giving up the third most passing yards, just under 1,600 so far this season, and the third most passing touchdowns allowed on the season with 13. So I definitely do think Hertz will have a very good day. I will mention Tampa Bay giving up the fewest rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks on the season right now, but it doesn't matter. Hertz is going to still get you 30 rushing yards. That's just what he does minimum. And then there's some upside there, right? But I do expect one of those Jalen Hurts, over 300 yards passing nights. And give me that Thursday gulp, big gulp, baby. Give it to me.
With a 52.5 point over under, we've seen consistently on the year, whoever plays the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tends to be the second highest scoring team, or like one of the highest scoring losers that there are on the week. And so that's definitely something we want to go with. Well, that does it for the Thursday night football matchup and all those start-sit conundrums for the actual game. But we want to get into you, Whisper Nation. You've been rocking with us the whole time. Thanks for hitting that like button, hitting subscribe if you're new to the channel. And let's say what's going on to the nation. Jersey J says, hello, guys. What's up, Jersey J? One of our favorites out there hyping us up. Jimmy Navarro says, good afternoon from Riverside, California. What's going on, Jimmy? Sell high on Adam Thielen or hold?
Oh, this is an interesting question. If you can get some value out of Adam Thielen, then I potentially would.
I would say if you can get RB2, like mid to top end RB2 or higher for Adam Thielen, I would. He is still going to get consistent red zone targets from Kirk Cousins. We know that, so he'll have his big games. But maybe you want some more consistency in your running back position. So I think that might be a good spot to do there. You know, if you can still get in on Darrell Henderson before the week starts, I'd go and try and get a Darrell Henderson right there.
But it's not panic mode for me yet though either for Adam Thielen. It was a bad game.
All right, Jersey J says, I have Hertz, obviously starting him. Yep.
Nice.
I'm trying to get Gaskin and dropping Gainwell for him. Do you think that's the right idea? Full point PPR 6 per. I do think it's the right idea only because Gaskin has a clearer path right now to a full workload. They haven't done it yet.
And he does have a juicy matchup.
It's a good matchup on the ground. He just needs to actually get the carries because he's looked good on the ground, and we just don't know if we trust Miami. But I definitely trust it more than what I'm seeing out of Gainwell, who's been a up and down, and only in the receiving game has he gotten really the work there. Austin, or I guess it's Austin. Can the Falcons beat the Saints? Yes or no? I mean, yeah, any given Sunday, that could definitely happen. That's in a few weeks, that game right now. Both teams on a bye. Jersey J says, hey, my Easter eggs are nice and smooth. Good to know, Jersey J.
Got that.
If you want them smoother, get over there to manscaped.com. Use the promo code TFWman, or you could use the ball wipes they got over there.
Well, Jersey J probably did get some.
Yeah, maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Jersey
boy.
J says Chubb questionable. I need this win. I am 2-3. I am 2-3 every week so far. The team I play has their best scoring week. It's redonkulous.
That's a frustrating.
Chubb's probably fine. Chubb and Hunt both DNPs today. It's a Wednesday. It's usually that maintenance day.
Yeah, I tried to get a DNP today, but Big Travie wouldn't let me.
Yeah. Oh, my league with Hertz as a super flex. That's why I'm obviously starting him. I mean, you're obviously starting Hertz as it is, like right now, even in one quarterback leagues.
Yeah. For
Mason
real.
Scott, welcome to the channel, man.
What up, Scott?
Give us a sub if you're new. If not, just welcome in. Full point PPR, super flex, Devonta Smith, Robert Woods, or AJ Brown. He needs one, Johnny.
This one's a little tough for me because I have not broken down quite the AJ Brown and Indianapolis matchup.
So AJ
yet.
Brown's PFF matchup looks good because he's going to run a lot against the second corner, not Tre'Davious White, is what they project. He'll run a lot of those slot routes against. But
okay,
I would wonder if Julio doesn't go, if that changes.
Yeah, so that's where my concern is.
I think I would go with AJ Brown. Because it's just hard for me to bench AJ Brown now. He got through the game. He didn't have a setback. We know his upside. They move him a lot into the slot too, which means he's going to get good matchups. That's a high scoring over under. Tennessee, Buffalo's only favored by like about 5 points. It's not a huge favorite for Buffalo. So I think I would still roll with your stud here in AJ Brown. Jersey J says Giovanni is going to steal his tutties. I don't believe so. I think that's, once in a while that's going to happen, but Jersey J here. I'm seriously considering starting Schultz over Waller, and that sickens me.
Schultz does have a decent matchup this week.
I think people are panicking too soon on Waller. He consistently gets over 7 targets a game. He consistently is on the field a ton. He got a red zone target last week where Carr just completely overthrew him. Like, he consistently gets looks in this offense. He's going to be fine by the end of the year. Schultz, if you want to trade Waller weight because you believe in Schultz, just remember that Schultz they're going to get Michael Gallup back in this offense. And will that affect Schultz? Because is this the reason why Schultz has been popping so much is because Gallup's been out of the lineup?
I don't think I would. I think what the concern is who is going to be calling the plays there. But what I would imagine is that Carr is going to have to revert to kind of that safety blanket. I don't think they're going to go.
Knows.
Yeah, and so I do think you're going to start to get back more to the Darren Waller as this.
I hope so.
Kind of, we'll see.
I need it. Silver Badger giving us the thumbs up. Appreciate you, Silver Badger. Connor LaRose says Darrell Henderson or Darrell Williams. We're going with the Darrell with 2 L's. Because Darrell Henderson is the RB15 after missing a game. He's had 15 or more PPR fantasy points in 4 games that he's played in. You're rocking with Darrell Henderson.
Dude, I've been trying to get him anywhere, and no one will trade him to me.
Yeah, they know. They heard you besmirching his name in the offseason, and they say now you want him. Jersey J, if anyone here is new, stick around. These guys answer all the questions, and Johnny is so on point. Wow, dude.
Wow.
So only
Johnny
is on point. Okay, Jersey J. All right.
My guy.
Yeah, stick around because Johnny's on point. And that other guy, he's whatever. JT Movin says, I traded Thielen and Pitts for Jacoby Myers and Dalton Schultz. Did I win or lose? I think you lost this deal here.
I think you lost
Pitts is a guy. Yeah, I mean, don't worry. Stick with us. We'll have some waiver wire advice. We'll get you another trade. We'll get you going here.
But yeah, that was
Happy Wednesday, says Brett Johnson. Beautiful day to hype up for football. Appreciate you. Jersey J says JT, ouch, buddy. Yeah, ouch is right, Jersey J. You've been coming for me today. Don't appreciate that. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Miyagi. I know what he was saying.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi says, I missed out on Hunter and Ertz. I ended up with Seals Jones. Great matchup for Ricky Seals Jones, by the way. I have Hawk. Do I start Hawk or pivot this week to Seals Jones against the Chiefs? He had 8 targets last week. Might stack Heineke.
Look, here's what I'll say. I want to know, twofold. I want to know your answer to this because I have a similar one where it's I did get Ertz off of a waiver and I have Hawkinson and I kind of want to start Ertz over Hawkinson this week because I hate the matchup with Cincinnati. They are very good against the tight end.
Yeah, let me take.
What's your answer? That's what I want to know. What's your answer?
I'm probably sticking with your guy Hawkinson. Again, they had a couple of. I'd have to look at the injuries. Their guy Bates, who's one of their better defenders in the secondary, was dinged up on that last play against Randall Cobb in the game. And they had another guy go out of this game. So if they have some safeties and cornerbacks missing out of this game, I think I'm going to be okay with Hawkinson as the start. I just don't. Maybe it's like by the book or ranking slave, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how you get out of Hawk right now. He's running the routes. He's on the field that much. Obviously, Seals Jones is as well. But I mean, look at.
When it comes to Seals, no. When it comes to Seals, when it comes to Ricky Seal, I think you're on point. I think you still go Hawkinson. I think if he did get Ertz, it would be a much harder question, only because Ertz is in just a smash spot where Goddard is not there. That's the only reason I think it's such a top. But I think if Goddard were back in, and then you're talking about Ricky Seals now, and I think you still do. I think you're right. You still go with Hawkinson.
All right.
You're just laughing over there at my answer.
It's just, not your answer. I'm just like the chat's popping off. It's pretty funny. Jaws Whedon, we appreciate all you in the chat. About 20 of you watching with us. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel. Jaws Whedon says, have the entire SF San Francisco running back crew almost in a shallow roster restriction. Mostert, free agent next year, or Wilson, coming off IR soon, safe to drop. Mitchell and Sermon seem like the future. This must be in Dynasty, I guess, if you're talking about this. And Mostert would be all of those guys. Mostert, Sermon, Mostert and Wilson are both under contract or off of their contract, next year. So I imagine that it will be Mitchell and Sermon running forward for the next couple years with the Niners. So, yes, I would drop Mostert. I wouldn't drop Wilson because he's coming off IR soon, and he at least has a shot to get some touchdown value for this year. And you'd be safe to drop Mostert for me in Dynasty, because I don't know that he's even going to come back into the league after this year. So
and I agree with that. You don't need to keep Mostert, but what I would do is just go. I would try to shop him, and even if you pick up a 6th round pick, a 5th round pick, a back end of your pick of your draft, you're still getting an extra dart throw that somebody else isn't going to get. So I don't even mind doing that. Or I would love to do that anyway.
So Jersey J, appreciate you. He says maybe not let them answer, talking about JT's trade earlier that we said he did kind of come on the losing end. It's either even or a loss though in my eyes, but these guys know it all, so I could be wrong. Jersey J, I appreciate the love, man. We appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you, man.
And ladies and gentlemen, the mouth from the south is back from Africa.
Hey,
Scott,
a
a.k.a. Death by Rona.
Hey.
Haven't heard from him in a while, but the mouth is back here on the live show. We appreciate you, Scott. Thanks for jumping in here. He says
a little worried about you, bud.
Is Brady's finger an issue? I'm just getting caught up. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. Remember, this guy played through a torn MCL, dude. He doesn't right now.
Mr.
Miyagi, if you show me the highest scoring loser, I'll show you a loser. That is true, but in fantasy, we like garbage time, and even if you lose in the real deal, we like it in fake football. Sup, Jersey J, working on some capital acquisition reports while I listen to the whispers. Mr. Miyagi out there doing the Lord's work, dude.
Yeah.
Jersey J, that's a good time, Miyagi. Accusing says, you think A.J. Brown scores a touchdown this week? I think it's a decent bet. I like him in that matchup. I think he's, again, high over-under, so that's kind of where I'd be leaning on right there. Broman says, full point PPR offered Cooper and Knox for Schultz and Pittman. Should I take it? You were offered Cooper and Knox. Yeah, I would take that deal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Knox is on a tear, and then Cooper's part of that offense, and he seems to consistently get some red zone targets a game. So,
yeah.
STR3 Gaming, better tight end play this week. Ertz, RSJ, or Dan Arnold? Give me RSJ. I think Johnny's going to take Ertz here, but RSJ I think is the answer of these guys because he's a little bit more athletic than Ertz right now. I would say he's on the better side of his career right now. He's got more upside. And I think this is an absolute smash spot in PPR right now because the Chiefs are allowing the 4th most receptions per game to the tight end. And so I like RSJ a lot more than Ertz this week.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? You say, yeah, you agree? Somebody take a picture, dude. Jersey J. Oh, okay.
I wasn't. Yeah.
Jersey J says, I meant Trav and Johnny are always on point. Love you guys. Best advice in the fantasy world. Appreciate you, Jay. I was just giving you a hard time. Mr. Miyagi says, come on, Jersey J. You know we run the Johnny Game Time fan club.
Oh,
Jersey
my
J
God.
Says, it's game time, dude.
Let's go. Game time. Let's go.
STR3 Gaming says, which side of the trade is better, DK and Dawson Knox or Najee Harris?
Ooh. I think I would go DK and Knox.
It really depends on what you have.
If
If you need a running back, the volume is king right now for Najee Harris. So I would tend to side on that volume side in RB, especially in PPR right now.
Yeah.
Jersey J says, love all these guys. Great points and talk through every decision. Appreciate you. Scott says, always start the stud, which is kind of where I was leaning on there with A.J. Brown. So I appreciate that backup
which
there.
is funny because he gave us so much when we started Zeke. And a bad game week 1.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, you should have benched
well,
Zeke.
Everybody's looking like a fool that was doubting Zeke in week 1. So,
yeah.
Rob Navarro, Darnold or Tannehill PPR? I would go with Darnold. Tannehill really in a tough spot against Buffalo. They've been a really tough defense. And while I think A.J. Brown could get home, it's much harder for Tannehill to get home with the banged up weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Miyagi, Hawkinson just been killing me 3 weeks in a row. I know, man, it's been rough, but there's just like, you look at the waiver wire. Are you really going to pick up a Ricky Seals-Jones here and start him? Like, and be surprised if Ricky Seals-Jones gets you 2 catches for for 20 yards. You're not going to be surprised. So I think the upside with Hawk is still there, guys. Fran the man says Debo or Lockett rest of season.
I think Lockett rest of season is where I'd go. What's so funny?
Scott, dude. Travi, you seem a bit peppy today. Did you get some last night? Dude, I get some every night because I'm here doing this grind for Whisper Nation, dude. That's the sum. You get you some, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you, Scott. Accusings. I got knocks off waiver. Yeah, dude.
Oh, nice.
Man,
beautiful.
That's great. Beautiful. Elver says Elver G says, I have 2 slots off my roster for a stash. Who has the better rest of season outlook? Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Elijah Mitchell, Myers, or T.Y. Hilton? Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
This is tough for me. Between Javonte and Mitchell would be my bet here. I am partial to Mitchell because I think if Jimmy G comes back into this offense, they clearly want Mitchell to be the guy, and that would be a lot of upside. Javonte's still having to battle it out with Melvin, which would be why Mitchell I give the edge to Mitchell here. But again, the QB uncertainty. If Lance comes back in the lineup, he's going to take a lot of that rushing upside, and Javonte's looked good, but so has Mitchell. Johnny, do you have any preference you're leaning here, Mitchell or Javonte here?
I would probably go Javonte just because I know more about that situation. I'm more confident in that Javonte is going to be the guy at the end of the year. But I do admit that Elijah Mitchell has a ton of upside, and so I do like him a lot as well on my roster. I would what? Oh,
dude, this chat is hilarious, man.
It's great.
Yeah.
But here's what I would advise. I would, if you only have 2 spots, pair Michael Carter, Jacoby Myers, my boy Jacoby. And I would pair those 2 and then try to really up another position. Like pair those 2, get
he has safer 2 slots on his roster for a stash. So
So Javonte and Elijah are the 2 that I like and I would want to keep. I do think Michael Carter is interesting, but again, if you only have 2 spots,
not even close to the upside that these guys have.
Right. Or even pairing like Javonte, Michael Carter, and Jacoby to get a really
Jersey J wants a Whisper Nation shirt. We've got some shirts up on the site. They're not the Whisper Nation shirt yet. That is coming out in the next week or so. We're going to work on that for you. So, but make sure you get over there and get maybe a TFW shirt for yourself, Jersey J. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Connor LaRose, Bengals or Dolphins defense this week? Give me the Bengals. The Dolphins defense has been struggling here, and Detroit just really given up a ton of points. Denver or Dolphins D? Again, Denver here. I had Dolphins D to play in this matchup, and I just don't trust it. That over-under is 47 points, so that easily could hit the over, and Dolphins only favored by 3. We could get Tua back. We have Brissett. We don't know. It's going to be a little bit inconsistent, so I don't know. Swift or Gibson rest of season. Give me Swift. He's not as banged up, and he's got the pass-catching upside more than Gibson right now.
Yeah.
Packers, Rams, or Cowboys D, Johnny?
I'm going to go
Rams D.
Yeah.
Rams playing a banged-up Giants team.
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Miyagi says, Jesus, Travi, every night, have your girl call my wife. Yeah. I meant that I get some in other ways, brother. Accusing says, I traded Gronk and Ruggs for DK and Chase. Did I win the trade?
Oh.
Gronk and Ruggs for DK and Chase.
And my other tight ends are Andrews and Knox. Yes, you won that.
Yeah,
you won.
You definitely did. So I dropped Kenyon Drake for Darrell Williams. Win or loss. I like that deal for you.
I
like getting in on the Darrell Williams hype.
W.
I can't believe the Cook owner in my league is 1-4. Doesn't want Matterson. I offered him a few trades. That guy is so dumb. Keep after it. Keep consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Miyagi says, I need a streamer for QB this week. Wentz, Cousins, Teddy B, Tannehill, Trevor Lawrence, or Heineke. I would go
Teddy B.
I love Teddy B this week, and I think of these guys, I think you're going to have some options. Heineke's a sneaky start. I think I'm actually going to go with Heineke over Teddy B, because if you look at the games that Kansas City has given up to the quarterback, it's been nasty. So I would go with that.
Boy, Gus.
Gus says, what's up, guys? Big Travie is really Ron Jeremy, says Scott.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman, worth a stash. Worth a stash. Didn't get to premiere last Monday, but don't give up too much to stash him here. All right, guys, that does it for us. Make sure if you want to ask more questions, go ahead and hit us up on Sunday. We do the Sunday live show. We're also going to be live again tomorrow, so hit us up there. Make sure, sorry, you are subbed to the channel, and you will get notifications whenever we do go live. For Johnny Game Time Hicks, I'm Big Travie. We're the Fantasy Whisperers. We're out. Peace.
Right here.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. If you still have a lot to say about fantasy football, maybe you want to give Johnny a little bit of crap for his take today, then go on over to our Discord channel and join the conversation there. Click the link in the description below. And if you still want more content, check out one of these videos.